The Giants get embarrassed on prime time again because why wouldn't they? Welcome to the Empire State Sports Report. I'm your host, Adrianna, also known as New York Giants fangirl on social media. So make sure you're following me there for the latest and greatest Giants news and updates, which I know everyone is so invested in week 14. The podcast is brought to you by Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the #1 sports betting app. Download it today and always bet responsibly. You know, my husband and I were live streaming the game last night because he's a Patriots fan, and it was fun for approximately 2 minutes. And then it became worse and worse and worse because the Giants are a disaster from top to bottom, start to finish, draft picks to free agency. The whole thing is just a complete and utter mess. So I, for one, am absolutely thrilled that it's the bye week. So this week, I'm only going to have one other episode for you guys where I'm going to talk about Joe Schoen and whether or not he should be fired, and I will recap his press conference. And then next week, I'm actually going away. I'm going to Europe, and I cannot wait to have a break from this goddamn football team that's ruining my life day in and day out. So I'm going to enjoy my break. I hope everyone else enjoys the bye week, and then we'll be back with the pod end of next week, starting to preview I think it's the Commanders they play next, which again, I know everyone is just going to be so invested in. There were some things last night that, I've never seen before. And I'm in my 30s, and you've got announcers, and I've got beat writers, and I've got my uncle who's in his 60s, and everyone and their mother who's in all different ages of their football watching career. And every single one of them said, I have never seen anything like this before when it came to the Younghoe Koo kick. And you know what? That was not even the worst of the Giants' problems last night. It's just a manifestation of this football season and life as a Giants fan under Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. But it's not, it goes back. It goes back even more because it also was a mess under Gettleman and Reese, and, the list goes on. So I saw this tweet from Dave Syvertson, who I'm a big fan of. I've had on the pod before. I think you guys know him. If you don't follow him, you should follow him on Twitter. His handle is OurLads_Sigh. Anyway, are you ready for a really depressing tweet? 1989 to 1990 when Parcells was the coach, and then 2005 to 2008 under Coughlin. Over the last 39 years, those are the only seasons that the Giants have made the postseason in consecutive years. So, great reminder that it's not just the coaching, and it's not just the players, and it's not just the coordinators, and it's not just this and that. It is a cumulative of everything. That is why we are in this position that we are in. And I'm going to talk about this more on the Joe Schoen recap, but I just really implore John Mara and Steve Tisch to look at this as an opportunity to fully clean house, because there is no reason, number one, why you should keep Joe Schoen, and number two, why you should not make significant changes, because you cannot, with a straight face, come out and tell the fan base, the people who pay for PSLs, who pay for tickets, who pay for food in that stupid ass stadium, and who pay for everything and invest their free time and money that we could be doing so much else with it, like literally. And instead, we are rooting for this football team because sometimes, very rarely, it brings us joy. But you cannot come out here with a straight face and say that you are trying to win and then not make any changes. So that is what I really want to see. And, if the NFL has to get involved like they did back with George Young, then get involved, because we have problems within the organization. And like I said, it starts from the top. One of the biggest things that was the most concerning to me coming out of yesterday's game, and this has been a commonality under the Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen era, is not only the lack of accountability, but the major maturity problem. And I am most upset about that than I am about anything else, because we're not a good football team. We were 2-10 going into this game. The Patriots are well coached. They have an identity. They have a great quarterback. They have a worse roster than us, and yet they are 11-2. They punched us in the mouth after we played very competitive games against really good teams the last 2 weeks. And they just know what they're doing, and they know how to win games, which is something that we most certainly do not know how to do. the thing that's so upsetting to me, and we'll talk about this with Joe Shane, but Dave Gettleman got a lot of shit for a lot of his draft picks. Well deserved, let me tell you. But if we're gonna shit on Dave Gettleman for the Sam Beals and the Kadarius Tonys of the world, then we need to also discuss the Joe Shane draft picks under this era, because Tay Banks, Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter, and Malik Neighbors all have maturity problems. And I don't like it. I understand these players are very young. I understand most of them are rookies. I understand they have not been in this situation before. They came from different colleges where different things were acceptable. Brian Dable obviously was the country club guy, and it sounds like it stems from Joe Shane too, where there just was never any accountability, and that has been a severe problem. But I'm not even going to talk about Tay Banks because he doesn't matter. Abdul Carter, the fact that twice in 3 weeks he has missed a decent amount of playing time. In the first game, it was an opening series. In the second game, it was an entire quarter. And we find out after the first game, after Kafka told us we're going to keep it in house, that he was quote unquote sleeping, because Dan Duggan is a fantastic reporter and does his research, and, ended up, he said that he was sleeping. Abdul Carter said, no, you're not going to talk shit about me and get the facts wrong, and said, I was getting treatment. But then there's other things that come out that say, well, he was laying in a red light bed. So were his eyes open or closed? Anyway, so we hear these types of things, and then there's questions popping up. Well, were other people getting rehab too? Were other people getting treatment? If they knew what time it was, were other players walking away? And Abdul Carter said, I'm going to stay for another couple minutes. And no one said, there's none of this, hey, we got to go. Okay. 2 weeks later, he misses an entire quarter now. And he's already been under fire because of what happened last week. He's already been under fire because he was supposed to be this Micah Parsons impact player from day one. He was picked number 3 overall. He was supposed to come in and have sack after sack after sack. Now, he's been productive. He has a lot of pressures, and he finally got his first official sack last night, which I'm like not even excited about because I'm so mad at him for post game. Because then, everyone's like, where's Abdul Carter? Where's Abdul Carter? We find out when Laura Rutledge asks Mike Kafka during halftime, what happened with Abdul Carter? It was a coach's decision. Okay, fine. You want to do that during the game? Fine. Okay. Protect your players. Bullshit. Great. That's what you want to do. Okay. After the game, Abdul Carter speaks to the media and says that when he's asked about the disciplinary action or why he was missing the first quarter, he said, quote, shit happens, unquote. Now, he later said during that press conference that he let down his teammates. And, I was talking to another Giants fan, Ian, if you're listening, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and he said that the initial Abdul Carter tweet where he took accountability, we agreed that that was great. And then he said, the second tweet, which was like people, insinuating that people were talking shit about him, like he could have left it there and been done with it. And he's like, I'm a little afraid that he's not really taking full accountability about this, because why are you still tweeting about it? Excellent point, Ian, because now fast forward to this, right? So here is he's saying shit happens as if he's not the one who's in control of the shit that happened. So the thing that's so infuriating to me about it is this happened already. Why did you not learn your lesson? You are a part of the reason why this team has 11 losses. You are a big part of it. You were picked number 3 overall, and I have given him the benefit of the doubt. Every goddamn week, I have been defending him and said, he's a good football player. Shane Bowen is a bad coach and bad scheme and blah, blah, blah. And with Kayvon Thibodeau being out, he's going to get his opportunities. He's going to get this, blah, blah, blah. He should have had more sacks that were taken away by penalties. You know what, Abdul Carter? I'm done with you right now. Until you get your shit together and prove that you are a mature adult and a good football player, I am not defending you anymore, because that was ridiculous. Did everyone forget that this is a team sport? Did you forget that there's 10 other players on the field with you, and every single one of you needs to do your goddamn job if you want to win a game? And you being on the defensive side of the ball, you being one of the players who week in and week out has collapsed. You and 10 other players have been a huge part as to why this team is losing games. and you have the nerve to say shit happens. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. If that happens again, I would bench him the whole game. And, we're done. We are done until you prove that you've learned your lesson. And again, I can forgive someone for an honest mistake. If he fell asleep the first time around, so be it. Fine. Learn your lesson. Same thing goes for Malik Neighbors. You're tweeting out things earlier in the season. Why don't we kick field goals? Why don't we do this? Insinuating the coaching staff is an issue. Last year, you said it's not the quarterback. This year, last week against the Lions game, again, he's tweeting, insinuating that the coaches are throwing the game and tanking, and then quickly deletes it. I understand these guys are young, like he just turned 21. But again, you're in your second year, bro. I know that you can't play, and I know that you're sitting at home and you're rehabbing it and you're upset. There's a draft button for a reason. Like, again, didn't you learn your lesson? You're not allowed to post these things. You can have these thoughts all you want. Call Scattaboo, who's also sitting at home watching the game, and say, what the fuck is going on with our coaching? What are we doing here? I'm upset, blah, blah, blah. Perfect outlet. Why are you going to Twitter where you know it's going to be screenshotted and reposted and it's going to be a thing now that everyone has to talk about when you're not even on the goddamn field and you're not even participating in any of this? It's so infuriating and it's so stupid and childish. And Jackson Dart, you're next, buddy, because the audacity for you to try and defend yourself and say, well, watch my high school film. I was always like this in high school. I mean, again, just tell everyone that you're a stubborn person who has not learned your lesson. And this is why him and Dable got along so well, because they're two stubborn men who were like, well, it's my way or the highway, and I'm going to do it this way, and you're going to get over it. Okay, Jackson, have fun in the concussion protocol every goddamn week and not being a reliable teammate. And it's the same thing with Abdul. It is your job to be a reliable teammate for your players. And Jackson Dart is coming off one of his worst games. And to say that, it makes me so angry. So angry. You want to be Brian Burns? By all means, say stupid shit to the media. I'll be pissed you're still losing football games, but I can get over it because at least you're productive. But to come off a bad game and then to be benched for stupid reasons and then say stupid shit to the media, for fuck's sake. I mean, I don't know what is going on in that locker room. Obviously, it's a problem and everyone needs to go because there's no accountability everywhere. And you know what upsets me the most now that I'm looking back on all of this is the fact that Jerome Henderson, one of the only coaches on this team who has any set of balls, had the nerve to call out Tay Banks and he gets fired because of it. Well, guess what? Tay Banks still sucks. He's good at one thing and one thing only, and that's returning kicks. Guess what? There's 100 other people on this team, not named Eric Gray, who are also good at returning punts. Doesn't make you special or a good football player. I am so upset that we still have to watch 4 more weeks of this. I cannot wait until it is over. I am disgusted with everything that I'm watching with this football team. Just everything. And then Mike Kafka. I mean, again, no one learns from their mistakes. Joe Shane had the audacity to say in the press conference today, oh, well, I'm learning from my mistakes. And if I get to stick around here, I've learned and I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. Okay, sure, Jan. Mike Kafka, you said 2 weeks ago, we're going to keep it in-house. Fast forward. Spoiler alert. It was not kept in-house. Oh, this time? 12 times in a row in the postgame? It was my decision. It was my decision. It was my decision. Someone's going to figure out what happened. Just say he was late to a meeting. He missed a meeting. It was disciplinary action because of something. You don't even have to give us the full story. Just say it was disciplinary action because of something that occurred in the building. I don't care. Like, it's not that hard. I am so disgusted, like I said, in every way, shape, and form. It's going to come out now what happened with Abdul Carter, and I hope that it doesn't span into this stupid Twitter bullshit where Abdul Carter has to defend himself because someone got the facts wrong from someone else who was in the building and told the beat reporter that this is what really happened. It's just the whole thing is a sideshow. It's like, we're 2-11. It's bad enough. We don't need the media circus that you guys are all making worse. You are making it worse every goddamn week. Don't you understand that? It's not rocket science. I'm so done with this team. I wish that they could forfeit the rest of the season, honestly, because it's so obvious to me that no one gives a shit. They just don't. Jackson Dart cares. He does. He was upset with the kick. He literally, I was laughing. They showed his face on screen. He's literally like, oh my God. Like, could not believe that happened. Welcome to the Giants, buddy. Happens every week. Every week. Shit you've never seen in your entire life. You could be 30 years old, 60 years old before you've watched the NFL for literally 50, 60 years. Only things that you've never seen in your life before happen to the Giants. It is literally only them, as evidenced by yesterday's perfect example. Another perfect example is that the Giants are just a clusterfuck on so many levels. Jamie Gillen, who has been god awful, shanking punts left and right, finally actually has two good punts. One of them gets returned 94 yards for a touchdown because no one knows how to tackle. And then I don't even know what happened the second time around, but it was another big return or some penalty, some stupid issue. It's just, it never ends, you know? And then on 3rd and 1, or what should have been 3rd and 1, Jackson Dart has that brutal hit that takes him out of bounds. And then Theo Johnson, like, I'm all for you standing up for your player, but it would have been 3rd and 1. And now it's 3rd and 16 because you can't get it under control. And then he was so visibly upset as he's dropping these balls. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Just everything is bad. Everything is bad. Dexter Lawrence saying that Abdul Carter needs to grow up. I mean, can you be a part of that? I don't know. Maybe Dexter Lawrence has tried to talk to him and he doesn't listen. Maybe Brian Burns has been a vocal leader. According to so many people, he is a vocal leader. Maybe Bobby Okereke has tried to talk to him. I don't know what the issue is. And I don't know if we'll ever know how much of this is like Abdul Carter being a douchebag, or is it like, you know, the players are just checked out, so they're not really involved and they don't really care about Abdul Carter because they just think they're going to lose every week anyway. And there's only 4 games left, so who cares? I mean, I think that the locker room's over it. I just think that they're done. I think that there are players who care. Don't get me wrong. I think Brian Burns is obviously one of them, who's sitting on the bench by himself when the whole team's literally walked into the locker room at halftime. Brian Burns is sitting there and a staffer had to literally be like, dude, you can't sit out here for halftime. Why is everyone else not on that level? Why? And at some point, I think it's innate, right? Like, I think sometimes we have innate motivation and determination, whatever it is, and whatever external forces, they might not be able to help that. But you are getting paid millions of dollars to literally play football and have fun. And to just act like you don't give a shit is really upsetting to the people who still go to the stadium. Like, God bless anyone who's going to any of these upcoming games, because I'm certainly not spending money to go watch that. And then, you know, Dart being humbled real quick. Welcome to the NFL. Your team sucks. There's a lot of other teams' fans in the building, and that's going to continue. So I want to be excited for this offseason because I cannot be excited about anything that's going on right now. And I don't know if I can until Joe Schoen gets fired, because then I will actually have belief that maybe we are going to go full steam ahead with like really blowing it up and starting all over. Because I don't know about you guys, but I keep forgetting that we're going to be on Hard Knocks, and that is going to be an atrocious showing yet again for the second time in a row under Joe Schoen. We've never done Hard Knocks. And the 2 times that we do it are under Joe Schoen, when we have minimal wins and are a horrible football team. So I'm not even going to go through the stats. I don't really think that anyone cares. Do you? Probably not. We lost the game. We got blown out. It happened pretty early on. The blunders from special teams were a huge part of that. And then, you know, the defense actually held them 3 times in the red zone to field goals, and we got lucky that one of them was missed. And then the offense, you know, Theo can't catch a ball. You know, Waddale gets tackled the second he gets the ball. That's a 2-yard pass. The run game was okay, not great. And Tyrone Tracy gets injured. Gunner has a good return and then gets pummeled and absolutely destroyed, which should have been a head-to-head hit. The officiating the game, it's just really, really frustrating. So there was something else I was going to say before, and I don't really think it was that important, but Jackson Dart. for all the people who are like, we need to sit Jackson Dart and he doesn't need to play, this is why he needs to play, is that he is stubborn and hard-headed, and he obviously has not gotten it through his thick skull that he needs to learn things. So, which I'm being a little hard on him. He has improved over the last couple of weeks. I think he looked a little rusty last night from not playing the last couple of weeks. So, I'm sure that that was a part of it. I think after the bye, hopefully he's going to look better, but I think it's a good reminder that he's a rookie quarterback and he needs to work on things. His footwork on that deep ball to Slayton was awful. I mean, it went through Slayton's hands. He should have caught that, but there's things that I see from him that I like, he definitely has to improve upon, and you only get that in live reps. The offensive line was also not great last night. They've been so much better than what was happening last night. The Patriots just ultimately came out to play. They're aggressive, they're tough, they have an identity, they're disciplined, and they have a damn good coach, and they went out there and proved that, and we have none of those things. So I am just hopeful that next year is going to be that, and I know that for the people who are just like, I'm not watching Giants football until next year, I don't blame you. The excitement over Jackson Dart is not even enough to get me excited to watch the last couple games. So, I will watch them and I will be here doing this podcast. So if anyone's interested, stay tuned. But I know there are a lot of people who are just like, I don't care. And I don't blame you. And this is the 7th out of 8 years that we're dealing with this, and it just sucks. So I really want them to blow it up. I think it's the only way that they're ever going to learn that something needs to change. So I'm hopeful that that is coming soon, but I won't hold my breath. So everyone, enjoy your bye week. Thank you so much for listening. And like I said, stay tuned for the Joe Shane episode that's coming on Thursday. And then end of next week, I will be back from my European jaunt, my little holiday extravaganza vacation. And then, we will talk about Giants versus Commanders. So enjoy the bye week, guys. We'll be back next week.